So we're going to just focus today on how slow the car can go in gears 1 and 2 without stalling. And I've got a camera on the speedometer, and a camera ahead of me and a camera on me, just to kind of talk you through what's going on, just to kind of give you an idea of what you can do. Because as a learner, when you first start out and you're doing your left turns and your right turns, or you're slowing down meeting situations, lots of learners will clutch down straight away because they're worried they're going to stall, because they've stalled in the first lesson, and it's all part of the learning process. So hopefully I'll give you an idea. So we're just going to move off to start with, and we'll do a right turn. So check your mirrors and signal, and I'm in second gear at the moment, and it's pretty clear. I'm off the gas, just covering the brake, following it round, and the car's getting away with about 10 miles an hour. If I started to brake a bit more, it would struggle a little bit more, and I'll demonstrate how slow you can go in a few minutes when it's a bit more of a straight bit and it's clearer. So you can see ahead of me, just past that left turn, I'm going to slow the car down. There's nothing behind me. I'm in second gear at the moment. I'm bringing the speed right down, and the car is at the moment is carrying itself. I'm not braking, I'm not clutching. It's just cruising along about 8 miles an hour in second gear. A little bit of power now to build it up. So that's something that you might have not known, is that the car will carry itself. Now if I start braking to get my speed down more, it'll struggle. It's struggling, it's struggling. It's gonna cut out on me straight away. I got down to about, if I have to guess then, without looking at it, I bet we would have been about 4 miles an hour in second gear, and the car started struggling. You could hear it rattling. It's going to cut out on you. Now if you start to wear things like that, clutch down and go down to a lower gear, because if you're in second gear, you want to be in first gear at that point. And if you're in first gear, clutch it before it stalls. So I've restarted the car and we'll carry on. So I'm in first gear, pulling off, and now I'm in second gear. So yeah, you can get down to about, I can't remember exactly what it was, about 8 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour, cruising along, and then when you start braking, it's going to get down to about 4, and it's going to struggle even more. Now if I slow down for first gear, so I'm going to pop it in first gear now, I'm going to let the car slow down on its own. I'll just get past this woman there. There we go. So I'm letting the car slow down on its own, and it's slowing down, and I'm doing 3-4 miles an hour. It's just cruising along on its own. It's pushing itself along. Now if I start braking to try and force it to stall, the car's starting to struggle. It's struggling. I'm getting down to about 2 miles an hour, and it's going to cut out on me. And it's cut out on me. And all I'm doing is slowing the car right down, so the clutch is struggling, the car is struggling. And it's just one of the things where you just need to kind of get used to how slow your car can go. Because if you don't, you're going to always worry about, oh God, I'm going to stall, and understanding what's happening to the car. So if we kind of carry that through to the left turns and left emerges, so I'm in second gear now, I'm going to do a left turn, mirror signal left, off the brake, off the gas, covering the brake, car in the distance, so I'm braking, clutching, just like you normally do. Always turning, and I'm off. So it's actually quite an easy one to understand and learn. You just got to practice it, and not, you need to go to a quiet road and practice how slow your car will go, and you'll find it easier. So we'll do the same again. So we've got a left turn coming up. I'm in third gear at the moment, so I'm going to do mirrors and signal, and I'm slowing down for a second. Now, I'm off the clutch. I'm letting the car slow down. I'm doing about 12 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, just covering the brake, keeping it slow, keeping it tight. And the car's not struggling. I'm off the brake, a little bit of gas. I got down to about 8 miles an hour, quite easy. Now, if that was a narrow road, and I had to slow down a bit more, I was struggling in second gear there, just like we were demonstrating a few minutes ago, and you were going first gear to do it. So the slower you go, the lower you go with the gears. when you're doing left turns, left emerge, right emerge. And if you're ever worried about, oh, I'm going to stall, then you cover your brake, so you start slowing down, and you would cover the clutch with your left foot, but you're not going to press the clutch unless you start to think the car's struggling, and then you start to lower the clutch a little bit. But if you start clutching it every time you want to slow down, all you're doing is coasting the car, which is not good. You're not controlling it. So we're going to do a left emerge coming up. So we're checking our mirrors, and I'm going to slow down for first gear. So pretend it's actually an open one, but I'm going to pretend it's a closed one. There's nothing around, so I'm slowing down for first gear just to demonstrate how slow I can actually go. So there's nothing there, and the car is just doing it on its own. I'm not doing anything, and I'm getting down to about 3 miles an hour, a little bit of power now to help it, so you can go really slow. Bear in mind, this is the 1.4 petrol engine, and I'll explain this in a second. So we've got the left turn again, but assume it's a narrower left turn. So all we're going to do is tackle it in first gear. So we're checking our mirrors, signalling, and slowing right down for that first gear. So I'm in second gear now, and I'm slowing down, and I'm going to go to first gear because it will struggle if it was narrower, because you want to go slower so you don't go wide to stay in your lane. As I go around the corner, I'm checking my time because it's narrow. This is what you've got to think like, and I'm carrying on back on the gas. So it's just reminding yourself that the left turns or right turns or left emerge, right emerge, the harder it is, the slower you're going to go, and the slower you go, possibly the lower the gear you're going to go. So we'll just have a recap then about what's happened, just to kind of remind you. So if you were going round the corner, 9 times out of 10 it's probably going to be second gear. If it's narrow, you're probably going to go into first gear because it's tighter. You've got to slow the car down. This is a 1.4 petrol engine. You want to get used to the car you drive in, because I mean, whatever you're learning is probably not going to be the same car as you're going to buy. And it might be a 1.1, it might be a 1.4, it might be a bigger engine, it might be a smaller engine. It all depends. It might be petrol, it might be diesel. These things you've got to bear in mind, and the more you get used to it, the better it gets. And whatever car you get after you pass your test, then I would say that, you know, go to a quiet area, nice little straight bit, make sure there's nothing around, checking your mirrors regular, and just see how slow the car can go without stalling, you know, because you'll get used to it. And as you start slowing down more, you'll feel the car starting to struggle. You'll feel the vibrations. It's just telling you, the car, I'm going to cut out in a second. So if you're in the second gear, you're clutching it and going to first gear. And if you're in first gear, it's going to do the same thing. You start to lower the clutch so you don't stall. Okay? So I'm hoping it helps you. If it does, give it the thumbs up. If you like these sort of videos explaining things, let us know. Take care. Watch out for my next video next week.